Hi, everybody. It is December 13th. As you know, I have been going through Acts, and I was surprised with how often Peter was teaching to Gentiles and how he supported that, saying, God told me to do it. God told me to do it. And how that went against the overall what I had thought, like, Peter taught the Jews, Paul taught the Gentiles, and, nearer to the two shall meet, which I know is wrong. It was just an overgeneralization, I think. But I just lost my thing in here. But in Acts 18:5 and 6, I can see now where Paul starts really focusing on the Gentiles and why, because he had been kind of going pretty much to anybody who wanted to listen. Of course, he would go to the synagogues on, Saturday and teach and teach and teach and try to convert. And it wasn't going really well. I mean, the poor man, I'm only in Acts 18, and he's been in jail at least twice, if not thrice. He'd been stoned nearly to death. They thought he had died. And he had been beaten with rods, which I just imagine beaten practically a whole lot. And yet, here he is. He keeps going. But here's what happens in Acts 18:5 and 6. It said, when Silas and Timothy arrived from Macedonia, Paul was occupied with the word, testifying to the Jews that Christ was Jesus. So that's what he was doing. It was probably, like I said, it was the Sabbath. And when they opposed and reviled him, he shook out his garments and said to them, your blood be on your own heads. I'm innocent. From now on, I will go to the Gentiles. He just got kind of done with them. Like, look, I keep telling you, and you keep just not wanting to hear it. You keep, opposing me. I'm done. How many times we've wanted to do that with people. But he didn't just go, I'm done, and stop teaching. He just said, I'm done with you all. I'm going to take a new path. And so he didn't quit teaching the word. He didn't quit doing what Jesus had called him to do. He just said, if you won't listen, I will find another group that will. If you can't hear the truth, I'm going to spread the truth to anybody else. And so that is probably the beginning of that huge push to teach the Gentiles, which is where I kind of thought he was all to begin with. So, and that is so true in our lives. I mean, I have never considered myself a good person to witness to others. Fine, if somebody asks me, I'd be like, sure. But just to go and say, I see this, or, hated it. I did not consider myself good at it at all. But as God has commissioned me here to do this for a year, I'm finding that he's saying, hey, just because you weren't good at that doesn't mean you get to stop spreading my word, spreading the truth. And so here I am, almost a year later. The time is closing, and God is still with me. He's still guiding me, and I've learned a lot from it. So I'm glad I'm not like Paul. I don't necessarily want to get beaten, although I don't really say that lightly, because I know there are so many places in the world where Christians are being seriously persecuted. And I mean, we feel the persecution a little bit here in this country with like being made fun of, every other religion, you respect, but Christianity, oh, you people are just whatever, conservative nut jobs. But that's nothing compared to what some people go through. And you cannot discount that. But that is not my calling. And sometimes I'm glad, because I totally respect that, because I know it's something that I couldn't do. I'm not called to do. I'm just called to teach and be the light of God where I can.